Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJay Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Really do appreciate you if you're checking out this right now, no matter where you are, wherever you may be. I really do appreciate it. On this edition, we're going to be talking about some of the hottest topics that involve the New Orleans Saints. And we're also going to be talking about a analyst who has been very critical of the New Orleans Saints. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But let's go ahead and get into it. The first topic I want to discuss is cornerback Alontae Taylor, because, you know, Alontae has been on the lips of the Who Dat Nation ever since the release of Bradley Roby. We know that Bradley Roby came to the New Orleans Saints by trade from the Houston Texans, and he's done a really good job in a slot. You know, he was a guy that brought stability there. He was a solid cornerback. Also, you know, if you were able to put him on the outside, he did some things as well. But the New Orleans Saints want to turn the page, and they're giving the reins to second-year cornerback Alontae Taylor. Now, this is uncharted waters for Alontae Taylor, because we know that Alontae is normally the guy that you would put on the outside. I mean, he played on the outside when he was at the University of Tennessee, and now he's learning to play in the slot as a corner. And the Saints want to give him that opportunity. And he's rising to the occasion, man. He's not afraid of the moment. He even talked to the media a little bit about, you know, embracing the slot corner position.
Well, first, I want to start off with telling everybody in Saints Nation, telling you all, I want you all to go and read Matthew 8:26. It talks about, I don't know if you all remember, where Jesus was asleep on the boat, and the waves were going crazy, the wind was going crazy, and everyone was trying to wake up Jesus to calm everything down. And so Jesus came, he woke up, and he said to everybody, why are you so afraid, right? So little faith that you have. So I want you all to understand, like, don't be afraid about what's going on here, and have faith that, you know, I'll do what I have to do in the slot to help this team get to the Super Bowl.
If I'm being honest, you're looking at Alontae Taylor, watching him playing a slot over the last few weeks. I got to say, man, it's not very good.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
You know, it hasn't been good. He's been getting beat. There were some plays where he felt like he was out of position. And, I think that this is something that comes with, the territory of learning a new position. I don't think that Alontae Taylor is going to stay in the same state that he's in. He's a guy that believes in himself. I think that's one of the reasons why Saints fans love Alontae Taylor so much, is his ability to be able to adjust on the fly and also be able to seize the moment. We've seen him go up against some of the top cornerbacks in the league, and he didn't shy away. I remember his first game, he had the assignment of going up against DeAndre Hopkins, for the Arizona Cardinals. And then the next week he went up against Devontae Adams, and he did a pretty good job there. And, he doesn't shy away from the moment. So I am not worried about Alontae Taylor being a slot corner. I think that he's going to be a really good slot corner, and I think that it's going to pay dividends. I think that the New Orleans Saints moving on from Bradley Roby just shows you that they believe in this guy. So I'm going to reserve my judgment and give Alontae Taylor opportunity to grow. And yes, it probably be a little bit of some growing pains in the beginning. Some Saints fans probably get frustrated watching, but I think as time goes on, I think that he'll get acclimated to the position, and you'll see a better performance from Alontae. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about head coach Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen spoke to the media about, the final 53. We all heard that, the fact that he was talking about how tough it is to be able to come up with the 53. A lot of guys put in work, and I agree with that. I think that a lot of guys that played on his team really put forth a really good effort. Now, they had some guys out there that didn't do themselves any favors. The Brian Edwards and the Adrian Fry's of the world.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
But there are some guys that really put in their work, and they made it very, very tough. Will Lutz was one guy that made it tough, and the Saints decided to go ahead and trade him, and they kept Blake Grupe. They decided to get rid of Blake Gillikin, which that wasn't a surprise to me at all. I've been saying this for weeks. Blake Gillikin, as long as it's probably the first quarter with about 13 minutes left on the clock, he's fine. But when you need that clutch kick to put the opposition on the 1 yard line or the 4, I only remember one game him doing that, and that was when they played against the Washington football team, now Commanders at the time. So it doesn't surprise me at all. But there were some guys, that made it extremely tough. And, I got to give Dennis Allen credit because he wanted competition going into the offseason, going into training camp, and that's exactly what he got. And these guys made it very, very tough for individuals that have been mainstays on this team for, X amount of years. And everybody on the Saints team has earned their spot. And that's why I feel like this could be a magical year for the New Orleans Saints. I think that they have the right guys. I think that they addressed the situation with their defensive line up front. They got more athletic, more speed. You got some guys like Brian Brzee and Colin Sanders. I feel like that can be able to get the Saints back to their ways where they were actually stopping a run. I remember when the New Orleans Saints went years at a time without allowing a 100-yard rusher. And then all of a sudden, they just started allowing individuals to just run all up and down the field. I just don't know what happened, but I think they understand that they needed to change and they needed to get a little bit more athletic, and they have done that. They also have got athletic on the defensive ends as well. Opposite of Cam Jordan, you got Isaiah Foskey, you got Tano Passanio. You got some guys that can be able to get to the quarterback, some hybrid guys that got some speed that can set the edge and make some tackles as well. So looking at the defense, looking at some of the guys that have made this team, you got to say congratulations to them because they definitely did it the hard way. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about sports analyst Nick Wright. Nick Wright, who has been on First Things First, a show on FS1. It seems like every time he talks, he always makes Saints fans upset. And for the life of me, I just don't understand why people are getting upset. And I would play a clip of, what Nick Wright has said, but
we don't want to hear that weak no more.
I'm not giving this dude any type of satisfaction because that's exactly what Nick Wright wants. I just can't believe in 2023 that Saints fans cannot see exactly what Nick Wright is doing. Nick Wright is a guy who is sitting at a desk with 3 other guys on FS1, and he wants to be a guy that sits at a desk by himself. And he sees guys like Skip Bayless and he sees guys like Stephen A. Smith who are controversial figures. And them being a controversial figure has put them in a tax bracket that very few people can get in. And I think that's the same thing that Nick Wright is trying to do. Nick Wright has understood that when he spoke last season about the New Orleans Saints cap situation, saying they're kicking a cap down the road and the way that they're conducting business, they're not going to be able to sustain that. It made a lot of Saints fans mad, but in the process, people started liking and retweeting and quoting what he was saying, including myself. I did it too, and I realized that this guy only is doing this because he understands that in order for you to get the attention of the masses, right, you have to play the game.
It's all about the game and how you play it.
And the game is, let me troll this team because I know that I'm going to get X response. And I just don't understand why Saints fans don't understand that. Getting upset with Nick Wright is exactly what he wants you to do. Sharing Nick Wright video is exactly what he wants you to do. Thus, the reason why, once again, I'm not sharing any videos of Nick Wright. But I will say this. I just don't understand the whole hot take situation. I think people are starting to wake up and realize that it is not even people's actual feelings. It's just the fact that they want to ignite some type of passion from the person that's watching them or listening to them in order for them to react. And I just don't, I just can't get down with it anymore. It's almost like when people start talking about wrestling, right? People like, man, wrestling is fake. And that's the reason why, I can't watch it anymore, right? But you got some people that can suspend their imaginations, like myself, right? And I guess that's what people are doing. They're able to suspend their imaginations. But in this particular case, I can't do it, okay? Because to me, wrestling has always been a little bit of a show, and we known that, right? But when it comes to the hot take, we have been under an impression for years that these guys are really giving us their real, genuine feelings about a situation. And now we have learned that they don't. That they sit around and they have these meetings, and it's just amazing to me how one guy at the desk always disagrees with the guy on the opposite side of the desk. I mean, have we ever wondered how that always happens for the last 6 years? I mean, you don't agree with nothing, but I'm not concerned about what Nick Wright has to say. Nick Wright is just playing the game. Nick Wright just wants his own show. Nick Wright just wants to be Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. And for the Who Dat Nation out there, I just say, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Just ignore it because it's just a waste of time. The Saints are picked to be one of the hottest teams in the league. And we all expect for the New Orleans Saints to rise to the occasion. Between the addition of Derek Carr and the schedule makers, it seems like the New Orleans Saints can get back on the winning track. Now, it all depends on what Dennis Allen can get out of these guys, the battle of attrition, all those things that have to come into play in order for your team to be successful. But from the looks of it and everything that we're seeing, it seems like the Saints are on the right path. So all the people that are saying these things about the New Orleans Saints, individuals that don't follow the team and only can sit on TV and talk about them via cliff notes, I'm not really concerned about what they have to say about a team that I've been following for 37 years. But I would love to hear from you. What do you all think about the New Orleans Saints? Alontae Taylor moving to the slot. What do you think about the defensive line upgrade and the competition level from the offseason? And also Nick Wright's comments. What do you all think about that? Comment down below, like and share this video. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. And also you can follow me on X at TJay Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?